Hey everyone, welcome to the Stride to Freedom podcast. My name is Russell Benaroya, and I'm the co-founder of Stride Services, a virtual back-office bookkeeping and accounting firm serving hundreds of clients around the United States. This podcast is designed to help small business owners focus on growth and innovation. In other words, focus on those things that inspired you to start your business in the first place. We call it your genius zone. We do our job on this podcast when business owners feel like they have the trust and confidence to build the right team of partners around them that will help them grow. Thanks for joining. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Stride to Freedom podcast. I am your host, Russell Benaroya. What is the Stride to Freedom podcast? It is designed to help business leaders get and stay in their zone of genius. What is your zone of genius? Your zone of genius is that thing that you do where you lose track of time, that feels effortless for you, where people say, oh my gosh, how do you do that? And you don't really know because it is so innately your superpower. We bring guests onto the show that are in the business of helping other business leaders get and stay in their zone. The Stride to Freedom podcast is sponsored by Stride Services. Stride Services is an outsourced back office bookkeeping, accounting, and fractional CFO services firm, providing services to high growth companies in the marketing agency arena and IT services space. What is our zone of genius? Our zone of genius is helping business leaders get access to data that helps them make better business decisions. Okay, on to the show. I am thrilled to have on our show today, Kate Bradley Chernis. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Russell. Hi, everyone.
So good to see you. Kate is the founder of Lately.ai, and she's going to tell us all about it, but here's the short story on it. It is an application that determines through voice, video, and text what audiences want to hear and turns that information into engaging social posts. I'm sure I bludgeoned this a little bit, but Kate is going to help us understand why it helps businesses and business leaders get scale and breadth and reach and increasing success. They serve a lot of companies all across a lot of industries, and we'll dig into how she helps owners achieve their highest and best use. She is well recognized as a powerful female entrepreneur. She has notable recognition for her talks on marketing and AI. And one of her recent testimonials from an individual states the following: Kate has one of those super duh solutions like Velcro that will make millions. It's one of those, I can't believe that's not out there already kind of things. You're pretty awesome, Kate.
All right, I admit it all.
Admit it all. Now, here's the thing about Kate. Kate totally flipped the script on me. This is why she's on the show. She flipped the script on me because I reached out to her. She probably doesn't even remember this, but I reached out to her through cold outreach because we're trying to build Stride Services business. So we're reaching out to people in technology and marketing and IT services. And I sent her a cold message on LinkedIn that referenced this podcast because I wanted to show her that we're hip and cool and share some episodes, get to know her, warm up, build a relationship. And her immediate response was, oh, would you like me to be a guest on your podcast?
You got to ask. A girl's got to ask.
You got to ask. And I was like, yeah. Okay. Awesome. So we're here. Okay, Kate, some hard questions first. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Because I know you dig it.
I like chocolate chip. I mean, I like, and where I come from, they're called Jimmy's, but someone told me that you can't say that anymore, and I don't know why, but chocolate sprinkles is what I like on top.
And when you say where you come from,
Vermont, so
in Vermont. Got it.
Yeah, so we call them creamies, right? So it's not in the summertime, it's the kind that comes out with the twist. So like I like a if they have it, chocolate chip twist with the sprinkles, and I always get a wafer cone, but I never eat the cone. I'm one of those people, right? I just like to have it to hold, and I like to lick it. And I always ask for a baby, which is ridiculous because then they just put a huge, large one on anyways, and it's like 4 inches high, and you're like, you're kidding me. Now I got to eat all this, but
So you
Yeah.
discard the cone after you've
Isn't that
like,
shameful? I mean,
yeah,
because
actually, I
it's
think we're
not,
gonna have to cut this. We'll probably have to cut this episode
this
short.
is boring.
No.
No, I'm offending somebody. It's because it's not the same when you eat it out of the bowl. Like you want this idea of the licking and the twisting and like there's a daring there. What if you push it off the cone and it falls and you lose it forever? Right. So there's a bit of it's a risk. You know, no one ever asked this, but my very first job was as a frozen yogurt server at a little local place in Vermont. And, I was 13. And so I could eat frozen yogurt and all of the toppings all day long. And so I always had like twists and raspberries and chocolate and like, I don't know, Hershey bars, whatever we put on there. And I ate to my heart's delight. And they also, by the way, sold beer and we stole a lot of it.
Nice. I see I see that. That sounds like a pretty good business model. Vermont. I'm into
Right.
it.
Well,
It
so,
works.
shame on them, right? They left us there at night all by ourselves. And so, like, of course, I mean, I feel bad now that I actually did that kind of stuff, but, everybody, it was probably the worst thing I did as a teenager. So it's okay.
What is the coolest rock band that you've ever hung out with? Because you have a history. You were like a producer. I think you're like a rock star celebrity, which you can talk about. You were also with XM Radio, I think for quite a number of years. So I think you run in these really interesting crowds. Share the background.
Oh, you're making me sound so cool.
You're so
yeah,
cool.
so I'm a recovering rock and roll DJ. It's all true. My last gig was broadcasting to 20 million listeners a day for XM satellite radio. My husband is always like, why don't you use the nice voice on me? So, the nice voice is like, yeah,
late night nice voice. Yeah.
late night nice. Yeah, right. So like, hey Russell, thanks so much for joining us. Right.
I'm melting.
Yeah. And so the coolest, of course, is my husband. He was the lead guitar player for a band called the Damwells, which was our first or our top pick of the year 2004, I think their record. So I was the music director of XM50, The Loft, and my job was to find like the new music selections for us, which was super fun. And of course, job hazard, Russell. I mean, I dated a lot of musicians because there I was. And they're all assholes. I mean, they really are, except I found the one nice one. And I was the asshole to him for a long time. And then I was like, this guy is still here and I'm totally abusing him. He must be quite special.
Keeper.
Yeah. But I did get to meet some really wild people. Don Henley, who was really disappointed that I wasn't going to the dinner with all the VPs. He was a little bit slimy, not surprising. Colin Hay was a super fun person to hang out with. He's the lead singer of Men at Work, and his voice is incredible to this day. He's still making records. He just really, those songs they stand the test of time.
Timeless.
They really
I
do.
come from the land down under.
Yeah. Who Can It Be Now? And
Who can it? Oh, yes.
Overkill. Like these are incredible songs. So, and then like there's a fun one. So I think if people like find me, you can see the banner on my LinkedIn page and Twitter pages of the Rolling Stones.
All that.
Yeah. David, my husband, is right next to me. Now he has short hair and he wears chinos and he's in sales, sadly. But because you have to grow up. We all do. I did too, apparently. Or maybe I didn't. But when we met the Stones, that picture is so funny because you can tell the radio guy because he's got his arms around the the musicians, and you never do that. You never put your arm around a celebrity. It's like super uncool, right? But the radio guys, the A&R guys are kind of uncool for the most part. And then there's this one guy in the middle who's got a weird face on, and he's a surgeon, and he went out till 4 a.m. with us and then flew home in his little jet plane to do surgery at 6 a.m. So I don't know who the victim was there, but the best thing you can see, Mick is out front and he's wearing a silk red shirt, and he actually when he walked through to say hello to us, he held his hand out like royalty. Yeah, kiss the ring. And made it clear that he wasn't interested in us. And then Charlie Watts, rest his soul, you can see him standing there stiff as a board, which is his personality. And that's how he was too. Like, don't give a fuck. And then Ron Wood, he's in a striped shirt and he saunters in all happy and he finds the 16-year-old with the large chest and he's like right on her. And then Keith Richards comes in, and this is like right around Pirates of the Caribbean. Everybody has, except for Charlie, still doesn't have gray hair. So this is 2006, I think. So Keith has actually all those coins and who the fuck knows what are all tied in his hair. You can see it. And he comes into the room and he grabs my husband, David, the only guitar player in the room, who's also 5'4", and he says, "Come here, shorty." And the picture snapped right then.
Love it. Love it. Oh, we'll be throwing that picture in the show notes. I mean, that's classic. We don't get that rich background very often. Okay. What is the biggest risk you've ever taken? Don't overthink it because you've probably taken a lot. What comes to mind for you?
I climbed an 80-foot rock wall with no ropes outside in San Francisco.
Whoa, like free solo.
Yeah, like a dumbass. I was with a boyfriend and I wanted to impress him. And I can't believe I didn't die. And I thank God. I mean, there's a lot of dumbass things I've done, but that's pretty top of the list. I have a picture of it too. And I look buff. I look so hot. Like all my arms are really, pumping
holy smokes, that is freaky. Have you seen that? Have you seen the Alex Honnold free solo documentary?
I haven't because I know the story.
That might make you pee.
Yeah, it makes me pee my pants. I mean, that stuff is so. I mean, I was a gym rat, and so I would go climbing in the gym, and I'm happy to fall on a rope all day because who cares? It's whatever. And I didn't do a lot of outdoor climbing, and I don't know what possessed me in that moment to do it. And I was wearing I looked good. I was wearing jeans and I think sneakers even, so not even my climbing shoes, and I had a jog bra on and nothing else. So like those were the days where I could bear the midriff and
roll with it.
Here I was, and what a dumbass.
No, I'm glad we're kicking off.
Don't do this at home.
Glad we're kicking off the podcast establishing that, because I think that might set the tone. What is something that scares you?
Failing scares me. I had this sense of deep shame, Russell, that it's my fault, which is, I know this, and I know that I should shed it, and I'm really aware of it. And most of the women I know share this kind of feeling where when something goes wrong, the first thing we do is run through that tape recorder in our minds of all the things we did to cause it. And I'm like that too. And the feeling, it's not like I get failure and I fail all the time. I mean, I do. I fuck up all the time. And it's part of my charm. And I know this. And that's not what I mean about failure. Like, I guess what I mean, with lately is specifically, I want it so bad. I want it so badly. And the reason I want it is super childish, which is I want to rub it in. That's what I want. All the people that have said, you can't do this, you're wasting your time, or have wasted my time, which is a lot of people, and I hate that, or have been dismissive of me, a lot of dismissing. It's funny, the derogatoriness never comes out direct. It's always some roundabout way, and oftentimes you don't even realize it's happening until afterwards, and you're like, that fucking guy, like that was awful, and I just got beat up and I didn't even know it, And so for those reasons, and that's the competitor in me, right? Like and again, I'm sorry to long answer this question. Rock and roll DJ doesn't shut up, but like the failure it's not about winning. It's about beating the machine. right? I know I'll win. I'm already winning. I have no doubt about that. Like, I always win. I do. I get lucky a lot, and I know I'm a good bet, but I don't. I just want to like fucking kill it, like so that there is no doubt.
I hear that. That is a long episode. That would be a long podcast episode. But
Therapy, I'll pay you.
No, but it's relevant. As people on the show probably know, I published a book about 4 months ago called One Life to Lead: Business Success Through Better Life Design. And it's both my journey as well as the journey of many entrepreneurs that have traversed many of these same drivers and beliefs, and had to and wanted to be introspective on that story they're telling themselves about what is it that they want and why do they want what they want, as a way to self-reflect on the difference between the stories that they tell themselves and the facts as they are. And facts and stories are different things. We live in a world of stories. We tell ourselves a lot of stories. Some of them serve us, like your story around a competitive drive and why you want it. That might be in service to you. There's an equal story that may not be in service to you. And that's the work of entrepreneurship, and probably a great segue into Lately, because Lately is a super cool company that I want to hear about. It's also a company that you've been involved with for quite a while. So you've been on a journey. You've been through the ups and downs. You've probably told yourself a bunch of stories. And I want to hear more about it. Give us some lens into Lately and your journey and what you're trying to accomplish.
You're hitting on the button, which I think is so smart. It's the wisdom to know which of those stories serve you or not is what makes a great leader and what makes me a great CEO. And I know, believe me, I have my faults and I do fuck up sometimes, but I know I'm pretty good at this, right? So Lately uses artificial intelligence to generate sales and marketing copy on social media that will not only get you high engagement, but get you skyrocketing engagement, right? That's the kind of high level salesy elevator pitch that, if you asked me that a year ago, I would have said something totally different, because you learn to evolve the conversation. And by the way, now, right about now, the last 2 months is the first time I feel really confident in saying that people have some understanding of what we do. You can tell me if I'm wrong, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
They don't look at me with total, crazy eyes now. And that took some doing, by the way, Russell. We used to be like, Lately is a marketing resource management platform that you're like, what is she saying?
Uses intelligent automation to activate the relevant language. Yeah, I get
blah,
it.
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Right. Right. It's like, what's the fifth grade level explanation of the business, whether you're talking to investors or to employees or to yourself? Like, simplify. That is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, it really is. And everybody's on you about it all the time. I mean, so the pitch is the thing. And what really frustrates me, and I've had I've had the courage and the chutzpah to kind of push back on this, but people, we've scienced the idea of so many things to death. Shark Tank promote being, a big cause in my industry in any case, and which forces, not forces, but which has caused venture capitalists and investors to sort of dismiss the human in the process, the human being me, and not have the patience to take a moment and listen beyond the quote elevator pitch, right? Because every entrepreneur I know is terrible at talking about themselves. It is hard to describe what you're doing, especially when you're doing something that doesn't exist. So you're looking to find familiar touch points to give you any idea and make a metaphor, to understand what I'm doing. And sometimes it's just hard. The shoemaker often has no shoes. And so what they're looking for is for you to check these boxes that have been established. Now, what's happening, and I've seen this happening to myself, and I'm seeing it happening to other entrepreneurs that I know and love as well, is that by trying to find there's space in between the boxes, right?
Mhm.
And that's where the unicorns are, by the way. It's these things that don't quite fit the mold, you know? And lately, we've done this. We've not fit the mold in multiple ways. So I'll give you an example. So we don't do any paid ads at Lately because I know the value of organic marketing. I mean, my uber power is making listeners into fans or customers into evangelists. I did it for XM. I did it for other radio stations. I was a fiction writing major and I wrote lots of commercials also. So I really understand the not only just the strategy around getting people to listen and engage and convert with you or because of you, but also then getting them to work for free on your behalf indefinitely. And that's about the long tail, right? Also, which was part of the whole music business. So I know all about this. And the payoff of the long tail is infinitely more than that in the immediacy and in the moment. And so if you go into marketing a business with this mentality, what you're doing is you're investing in your customers, you're investing in your network and your friends and your family and all the people around you, and giving them the ability and the permission to fly the plane with you. Right now, that's so important because I can't do this on my own. It takes like 50,000 villages here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially because I'm a woman. Sorry, it's part of the deal. So female founders only get 2% of all venture capital funding, right? So I have to work, much harder than you to do this. So I have to rely upon the help of others. So by not doing any paid ads at Lately and focusing only on organic, no cold calls, by the way, and no cold emails either, because we don't like that shit. We're do unto others. We have been on the recipients of that, and we don't like how it works. So I didn't follow this path of an SDR bank where you just get a bunch of dudes usually to smile and dial and call a day, and it's a number, and eventually somebody is going to, pick up the phone and you can sell them. The other way is to throw money at paid ads. Just forget the problem. Just like let someone else figure it out, or let SEO figure it out. And so we do none of those things. I'm going to ask you for the file. My lovely Emma is going to ask you for the file of this show here. We're going to run it through Lately. Lately's AI is going to first use the model that it's created for my voice specifically, and it's looking for the phrases and one-liners you and I say today that it knows our target customers are going to reshare and comment and like. Then it's going to automatically clip up this video into all those video clips with the quotes of what we've said, turn them into social posts. We're going to watch who likes, comments, and shares and move them into a demo. And we have a 98% sales conversion because the AI is so smart at knowing what our targets want to watch, read, or hear. Now, I tell you all that because that's not the way you're supposed to do it.
For sure.
But we did, right? And part of this, by the way, is it's not just the AI on its own. We talked about the human having to be in the mix, right? At Lately, we know that the human has to be part of the equation. It's AI and the humans together. And that's not 1 + 1 = 3. It's 1 + 1 = 33. Okay. They have to be collaborating. So that part is hard. You have to do work, right? The hard way is the way, Russell. The hard way is the way. And when you know this and you put that effort in, and you're not just trying to throw money and a numbers game at the problem, that's when you're seeing like an exponential growth, conversions, all the things.
If you're on the client side of Lately, let's say we used Lately at Stride Services. We operate a professional services firm. Like many professional service firms, one of the challenges is scale. Scaling professional services is obviously hard, and building a machine around customer acquisition. So many professional service firms are built on the single reputation of the owner that can't get out of their own way, and everything revolves around them, and it's all their network but if you really want to build value, figuring out how to create a machine of customer acquisition in your target segment that transcends you as the individual is really, really important, especially if you're a business owner that wants to spend more time working on your business and not in your business. If you are the machine, I assure you one thing, you will never accrete the equity value that you probably aspire to. So I'm curious how Lately helps firms like ours, which like we use technology, right? We're not on the cutting edge of technology. We're not a tech company per se. We're a services firm. How could we use it to help us achieve our goals?
Yeah, thanks for the softball.
Boom.
It's the same idea, right? I mean, so we are armies, right, of one, or that's what we're aspiring to be. And it's almost impossible to be everywhere all the time. And so you have to use automation in some way to help you to do that. Now, automation is great, but AI is not automation. It's more than automation. So automation would be perhaps simply clipping up the content, but the AI knows which parts to clip up specifically, right? That's the difference. And my job is to give you the power to scale yourself like Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Gary V.
Without the army that he has.
Mm-hmm.
So for speaking of Gary, sorry, name drop. We did a project with them where Gary's team created an entire Twitter channel. It's called @GaryVTV, fueled only by Lately and nothing else. And we wanted to do a test to see how well it worked and to also compare the AI to the humans. So the parallel of the content that Lately chose versus the content that his human team chose, there was an 80% correlation, right? Pretty good. And then it also got him a 12,000% increase in engagement, right? Because, yeah, number one, it's smart. And number two, Gary has so much content and AI has to learn from something. So the more you feed Lately, the smarter it gets.
And what kind of content that would a firm like ours, or think of another professional service firm, what kind of content gets fed into the system? Number one. Number two, how do you know that it's working? And so you use the term engagement, and that's a could be a tricky metric. I suppose it depends on what engagement is defined as for your organization. So give me some examples.
Yeah. So Lately works with, and I'll define these things as well. Earned or owned media, meaning so owned media is stuff you create. This podcast is yours. You can run it through Lately. And we do this with text, audio, or video. So owned media could also be a blog that you write. It could be a newsletter you create. It could be just audio from a podcast. It could be a keynote that you're giving on a conference that your company is sponsoring. It could also be earned media, which this conversation is for me. I just have to ask you for the file. I have to have the actual file to upload it to Lately.
Yeah, it's super expensive, but it's fine. I'll definitely.
Yeah, right. Well, so here's the win, right? I'm going to use all the clips that Lately gives me and drive traffic back to the link of the full version of this. So you get the win. Now I get the lead gen, right? But you do too. So it's a double. Why wouldn't you help me, right?
Consider it done. Consider it paid.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So the other thing we do, though, is a lot of companies don't even have either of those things. They're just getting started. So we integrate with an amazing company called Up Content, where if you type in a couple of words, they'll go out and find, this happens instantly through the Lately platform. They'll go and find blogs, thought leadership blogs in your industry, and then Lately will automatically generate those blogs into social posts for you so you can look smart on LinkedIn or Twitter, right? The second question was, how do you know? How do you know it's working? So in the analytics that we've created, we thought a lot about how hard it is for people to understand this question. Is it working? How do I know? What do the numbers mean? Marketing has been bogged down by analytics for a long time. Even marketers don't even know what they mean. I know this because they used to hire me and my agency to tell them. Very famous companies, Walmart being one of them, right? So, what we did is a couple of things. Number one, we look at all of your social channels and we allow you to upload your Google Analytics to the same page inside Lately. And you could also upload, let's say, your analytics from MailChimp. So you can look at all the analytics from your different sources on one view, and you can actually quickly see if the peaks and valleys are lining up. So for example, we put a lot of effort into Twitter, and all I have to do is look at the page and I can see my Twitter peaks and valleys lining up with my Google Analytics. So I know that just at a quick look, what I'm doing is working, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I can also click any spike, and Lately will pull together everything that I posted on Twitter that day to cause that spike.
Mm-hmm.
So you can literally see the messages that worked for you. Now, getting more granular, Lately surfaces word clouds of the ideas and words inside those messages as well. And it'll ask you, hey, Russell, the idea human is getting a lot of engagement, meaning clicks, shares, or comments from your target audience. Would you like the AI to look for more of that, or consider it a noise word, look for less of that? So again, this is where the human comes in and tells the AI, what to focus on. It needs that guidance here. And I'll give you an example of the word clouds. One thing that we discovered is we do them for words, we do them for at mentions, so you can see when you tag people who's actually getting you the most bang for your buck. And we also do them with hashtags. So here's a myth I'm going to bust about marketing, which is forever marketers have used hashtags as an indexer, hoping to glom on if someone's searching for content. Now, people don't actually use hashtags as search content almost at all anymore, unless there's like some super in the moment event, like Elon Musk buying Twitter,
Yeah.
right? Or the war in Ukraine. But they don't use it for general
Yeah. Or Super Bowl,
conversation.
like Super Bowl Sunday or something.
Yeah. They're not looking up like weight loss,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
generally speaking. So instead, though, when you use hashtags as a way to augment the conversation, the message you just put out there, or to enhance it, or to add personality, that's when we see the engagement skyrocket. So I'll give you an example, which is my personal highest performing hashtag is hashtag peeing my pants.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I said when Gary Vaynerchuk was tweeting about us, right? And you can see there's my voice in there. That's some human element. That's the reason why, is because, it wasn't just like, oh, hey, Gary posted about me. Who gives a fuck, right? What's my reaction? That's interesting.
Yeah. So if a company uses Lately, what do they need to be prepared for on their side to make the most of the service? Do they, is this something that like a marketing manager is overseeing? Is this something that integrates into their CRM for their SDR? Like, how do we work that through the funnel in a process way?
I totally slipped Russell $100, by the way, folks, to ask me all these questions.
This is the thing you didn't, but it's probably your wizardry in your DJ genius that you say things in such a way that trigger me to ask the next logical question. Like I'm basically being brainwashed. Awesome. Like keep going.
That's, by the way, and that's one thing I learned in venture capital pitching, is to force them to ask the questions you want them to ask.
Totally.
And then have slides that answer the questions before they've even asked them, Yeah. So I'm just giving everybody a quick thing, like on this, like one of the things I would do is you would do the pitch, and then before I would let them ask, I'd be like, listen, I know you guys have some questions. I'm going to kick them off for you. First question, how do you do XYZ? And then I'd have a slide for that, right? So you look like such a smarty pants, because then you can control the conversation, which is what you want,
Yeah.
So yeah, good for you for cottoning on there. Shit, what did you ask me? Oh, I know.
That's awesome.
So yes. So we serve small, medium, and large customers. On the small side, and 98% of this is true right now, 100% will be true as of Monday. On the small side, you can walk up to Lately, essentially have hardly any marketing background, except for you just have a couple of social channels and you're trying to figure out life, push a few buttons and we're going to give you content that'll be appropriate for you. And you can publish it in right away and walk away and feel like you didn't have to guess about what to say, or take the time to wrestle the fear of the blank page. Now, at the higher end, we work with enterprise companies where we've built in a syndication feature. So one CRO, for example, can auto-generate content from the company blog and instantly publish it on the personal sales social media accounts of his or her entire team. Or a CMO who is in charge of thought leadership for her C-team, her C-suite, she can also auto-generate content from the CEO's latest interview with you and broadcast it across all the employee channels who are participating in employee advocacy for the company. And there's a way where the employees, for example, if they didn't like that content, they can choose not to use it or they can collaborate with it. There's a lot of different kind of ideas there. So it can be very, not, I'm going to say complicated, but it can be robust where you do need a marketing team to really benefit from the AI. I mean, in the enterprise package, there's so much more you can do with editing the video and curating the AI, and it's advanced, of course, that's why we charge more for it. But on the SMB side, on the small and medium business side, what we found those customers want the most is just to, like I said, eliminate the fear of the blank page and or unlock something they've busted their ass to doing, like writing a blog for 4 hours or taking it, it takes a lot of time to record this podcast. There's the scheduling, as you know, which is a pain in the ass if I'm your guest. And then you have to record it. And then some people are going to be editing it, putting on buffers of sponsors, who knows what. And then you have to publish it and then you have to market it. And you go, all this takes time, So what's interesting to us, Russell, is that and I'm answering more than you asked, what we discovered the last year was, while those products are different, the way customers want to use them are the same. So we've learned to kind of gamify the act of using the auto generator because it's fun. You push the button and like, what's it gonna pick? Right. There,
Totally.
it's like a jukebox kind of.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm doing now. I'm raising money to take those learnings from both sides and merge them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if I were to simplify it down, if I was a buyer of
Please.
Lately, as the owner of a small professional services firm, I might think of this like, this is a pretty efficient way for me to scale my content in a way that's not going to add very much marginal cost at all. So I get scale and reach to content in places that I might not otherwise be present, or I'm not staffed, or I don't have the expertise there. But I feel this desire to have presence as part of my overall brand strategy. Let me pause there. Is that right? Is that a way to think about it?
Yeah, and I'm going to put a little more done in there because it's
Okay.
not just the presence, it's the results, right? So like 12,000% increased engagement, 98% sales conversion.
Okay. So that's actually a good point. So yes, I want engagement, and then the bridge is great. I have engagement. How do I map that to my back to the conversion funnel of what I ultimately measure my success by, which is, am I growing revenue?
Yeah. So for us, I mean, so the map is so important. I mean, I hate to say it, but we live in spreadsheets, of course, right? So I know that I need to do a minimum of 3 public speaking engagements a week, or writing a blog or being on a conference or something, webinar or something like that. So 3 a week will roughly drive 160 demo requests, or now into the self-service page, it'll drive 200 visits to the homepage, let's say, okay? Just 2 to 400. Of those 2 to 400, as we watch them convert from the homepage to the pricing page, which is the next place we know they have to go, then from pricing to sign up to trial, try to conversion. In the self-service we have right now, it's been live for 84, 85 days. We have a 74% trial to sale conversion, which is very high. Industry average is like 45. And then on the enterprise side, we're going from homepage to demo request, then they're having a demo with an actual human, then in a trial and then conversion. And that's the 98% conversion. So, this is what you do. You just map out these things in the spreadsheet, and I'm sure there's software to do it. Sorry, people, whoever you are. We look at these numbers daily, weekly, monthly, and what we're looking for inside is patterns. So for example, we're partnered with HubSpot and Hootsuite, and I'm looking specifically to see what customers are using lately to integrate with those products. And we can spy on them we have full story, so we can actually see what you do in the account, right? We can watch to see if you're clicking a button that's not working for you. If you're clicking it a whole bunch, we know something's wrong and you're probably pissed off at us and you're probably going to churn, and we need to fix that immediately, right? And so I can see the installs from HubSpot or Hootsuite, and then I can see whether, what percentage of those particular people are staying around or not staying around. And so I'm always telling my team, I noticed that a bunch converted one week and then a bunch canceled another week of these particular groups of people. And so I said, go in, and we didn't know why, because I can't talk to you. It's hard to get you to respond to me. Go in and watch and look for the patterns. I need you to tell me exactly, there's going to be something that happened 3 or more times. So maybe it's somebody went first to this and then to that. Obviously we can see if something's broken and it's not working for them, but sometimes it's less than that. Did they only see 3 posts before they were like, these all suck, I'm out, and the patterns are the thing, and it's hard because you don't know what you're looking for. It's a needle in a haystack, right? But they're always there. They always are. This is the thing I learned from Mark Roberge, former CRO of HubSpot that took them to IPO, is that the patterns are everything. And if you can't for a moment take your foot off that gas, because for a second you can be like, woo, everything's great, everything's going up, but shit is happening in there that you're not seeing.
Yeah, I think that comment about continuous improvement of the customer experience and the customer journey is equally applicable in the conversion funnel of a SaaS piece of software like yours, or in professional services. That maniacal focus on the customer experience and the customer journey and root causing, where's the problem reside, and systemically solving the problem so it doesn't happen again is a discipline that I think all companies, we want all companies to embrace. What are some great, I do have two more questions. One is customer segment. Our listeners and Stride, we focus a lot on what's our customer segment, who do we want to serve, where do we think we can uniquely add value? And for Lately, it sounds like you serve, like many SaaS companies do, you serve across a spectrum of client sizes, SMB to enterprise, but their needs and goals and wants are very different. And there's a cost associated with servicing enterprise with a level of features and support that's different than SMB. Why not just say, hey, our expertise is serving this client psychographic or demographic, this size segment, and just maniacally focus on them?
Because we are consistently proving that we don't have to, and I will back that up. So I can market to these customers exactly the same way I described it to you. So I reach SMB customers and enterprise customers, dog fooding my own product for free. Yep. And I'm learning what I learned not early on, but about 4 years ago, and it took us a while to figure out how to take what we learned and then apply it, which we've recently done, is that at very large companies, individuals are passing us around because they want it for themselves. And so if I can make them my champions, then I can sell to the person that I need to sell to across the enterprise, right? That's part of the key thing. And that was the opposite of what we thought. We thought we would have to sell to a CMO who would then, make everybody use it, but it's not that way for us. And so making a product that sneakily serves SMBs actually also serves the, guess what, humans inside an enterprise. So I can align product and marketing to do the same things. So that's cost efficient for me, right? Now the lift, as you noted, is in the customer service side, right? So for enterprise, certainly there's more training that needs to be happened, but not really. I mean, Lately is really easy to use. I mean, I was on stage giving a demo once. I have a PC and don't tell anybody. And for some reason, my PC wouldn't connect to the damn screen. So I had to use somebody's Mac, and I don't know how to use a Mac. And so the tech person got up and literally just did the demo for me. Literally. Like I was like, hey, you know what to do. Oh, great. You know, they were like, yeah, you just push, looks like you just push this button, right? Yeah. Okay. Which is so funny because, you know, I'm always like asking my tech team to make it easier to use. And they're like, you know, it is pretty easy to use, even though, you know, like, all right. But then, you know, the other cost, as you also mentioned, is, you know, sales and sales cycle. Now, we were able to take the cost from enterprise, or the sales cycle from enterprise, down from around 28 months to 2 months recently. And we've seen that a couple of times. So, I mean, I know that we're improving on that. I know that it's possible. Even we've seen companies, I mean, stuff is just getting easier. So like normally a legal process, for example, with one of our customers would take a year. They made it take 45 days with us, you know, because there was so much pressure from inside and outside to just get the damn thing in there. And partly of that, Russell, is because of the cost of not doing it, right? So we know that there's smaller companies that might spend $3,000 a month to have an outside source writing content and clipping up their videos for them, where they can now do it themselves. You know, so that's saving $3K minus the cost of Lately. Let's say, I don't know who these customers are exactly, but let's say we're going to charge them $200 a month. Okay. And maybe they have to spend an hour with each video to guide it along. I mean, that's a lot of time saved. And then, you know, I was going to say the other thing that we're seeing with our enterprise customers is that less and less people need to understand how to use the product, that they're teaching their employees on our behalf. Right. So we have one customer who like literally gives a seminar every quarter to all of her franchisees on Lately. And we've offered to do it a million times. She's like, no, I got it. Great.
Yeah, love it. Love it. What is the next chapter of Lately for you? Where are you on this journey?
I need to take a nap.
Yeah. Sometimes a breather.
And will I do
a bad
that?
idea?
I don't know.
Yeah. What's the next?
Yeah. What's the next thing?
Next chapter?
So the honest answer is, we have a version 2 of the AI so right now Lately is designed to start you 75% of the way there, to start you on third base. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's hard to get, can take like 6 innings just to get there. Right. With the new version of the AI, we're going to get you almost to home plate. So about 90% of the way there. And that's really around learning that brand voice and being able to not just parse up the things with the ideas we know, but parse and then also write as well. We did a test, Russell, with Anheuser-Busch InBev to prove that this could work with 10,000 pieces of content from one of their brand voices. And the content, because like the AI has to learn from something, right? So the content came in the versions of social media posts, radio scripts, press releases, anything we can find around this single brand. And the idea in combination with our friends from Up Content was to type in a couple of ideas. Up Content, this all happened in seconds, went to find blogs based on these ideas, Lately applied the new writing model, parsed up components, then rewrote those components so they were not quotations, and then added brand isms to them.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. So that's what's being implemented, hopefully starting next week. I've parked it for a little while because I didn't have the resources to, we built it and then I couldn't put it in the product. So that's that. And then also, we're really interested in just watching what you guys want. We've been asked for paid advertising to use Lately in Paids. That's been our number one request from our customers for years now. But that might change. I don't know. That I think that's probably the next place we're going. I just need to listen a little bit more. One of the things that we're seeing is on a smaller business side, less scheduling. They want one-off content to publish right now. So we altered our roadmap to address that. That's the thing that's happening on Monday. And I think that's like, the gift you need. One we already noted is to see the glass half empty, find the problems. That's my state of being, much to my husband's dismay, but also to know when not to stay the course.
Yeah. What is something people don't usually ask you that you wish they did on shows like this, or talks that you've given, or questions from the audience?
How about, so there's something I've been wanting, I was Googling in the background, I was talking because I wanted to read this to you today because I just am in love with it. And the question would be, what piece of writing has made an effect on you lately? Which it doesn't sound like a very exciting question, but when I read this to you, it will. So I heard this on a podcast recently. The author's name is Kyle Carrero Lopez, and it's a poem. So indulge me. And I'm realizing I'm having bad eyesight, and I'm gonna have to get glasses soon here. It's called Ode to the Crop Top.
Ode to the Crop Top.
Are you ready? Summer vibes, here we come, okay? Oh, sliced crepe, dress code break, half-set sun, slut symbol, cracked window, short story, a whole summer carnival shrunk. How I adore your spunk, your sincere open call for air on my belly hair. The little Target boy groaning ew as I pass isn't worth any ire. He's playing with fire, but his parents lit the torch. To think such small cloth sparks grown brains aflame. Why you in a girl's top? The man yells in DC. I could have cut him one too, so we'd both feel the breeze. Isn't it delicious?
Deep.
I love it.
I love it.
It's so great.
Kate Bradley Chernis, thank you so much for flipping the script on me to be a guest on the show. As much as you identify with AI and have built a company on AI, you are so human. You are so human. And I do appreciate your
Thank you.
Authentic approach to this conversation, a willingness to teach me, a willingness to teach our listeners, and a willingness to acknowledge that doing things the way people think you should, and those that are not seeing this in air quotes, should, is not the best path for everyone. And I appreciate you forging a journey on your own. It's been such a pleasure to spend time with you.
It's been mine. Yeah. Like a man wearing a crop top, right? Like it's
kind of
the other way.
Kind of like I am right now, although you can't see that. You can't see below my midriff. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Another great episode of the Stride to Freedom podcast. This will be up in the next, well, I guess if you're listening to this now, I was already up, and look forward to the next show in the next couple of weeks. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye.